Wisconsin, a 10-point loss to the Clippers tonight, 117 to 127, as the Bucks watch their 5-game winning streak come to an end on the first leg of their 4-game road trip. Coming up on Bucks Live, Giannis Antetokounmpo still stuffing the stat sheet, 36 and 13. Damian Lillard, back-to-back triple-doubles for the first time in his career, and a member of the Milwaukee Bucks. And then James Harden putting together a second half to remember, carrying the Clippers to a 10-point victory over the Milwaukee Bucks. Stephen Watson and Steve Novak here with you on Bucks Live. Thanks for staying up with us. Late night edition of Bucks Live all week long here on FanDuel Sports Network. Well, maybe the travel came to play here against these Milwaukee Bucks. They looked a little slow-legged in that second half against this Clippers team, and credit James Harden and company for the way they responded out of halftime.
Yeah, it really was impressive to see, I think, how the Clippers came out, like you said, at halftime. Obviously, the Bucks in a good spot up by 1 at half, and expecting to see a little bit more of that from these guys in the second half. But like you said, the travel, never an easy thing, and obviously seeing what James Harden was able to do, coming out, staying hot. Norman Powell as well, getting it going. That was quite a duo they had, and obviously with Kawhi Leonard still playing some limited minutes, not totally himself, but this turned into a big-time offensive game.
Can't blame this one on the snow.
That's right.
California. Well, the stars were out in this matchup on a Saturday night. Giannis and Dame, the top-scoring duo in the NBA. How about this evening for them, combining for 65 points, but they were better by James Harden and Norman Powell combining for 73 points in this game. And Steve, James Harden in particular was special in the second half for the Clippers. 17 points on 7 of 10 shooting in the third quarter alone.
Well, you just saw right there his number one target that he likes to find when he's not scoring is Norman Powell. He had 9 assists on the night, so he shares it as well. But just how good he is in isolation. One of the best isolation players to ever play this game. He's a guy that can get his own shot off at any time from 3 in the paint. Obviously, the way he draws fouls, he just continued to put so much pressure on the Bucks defense. And so watching this guy go to work, one of his, for sure, best games of the season, unfortunately, coming against the Bucks, looking like he's having a little too much fun out there with little antics after a big finish, but a big-time third quarter and a big-time fourth quarter to really win that fourth quarter by 9 points. It was definitely what pushed this game over the limit because it was just the Milwaukee Bucks. It was 15 lead changes and 10 ties throughout the game, and so there's no question that 9-point win in the fourth quarter was a big difference.
And Norman Powell, the season that he's having for the Clippers right now, I mean, 33 points. He averaged 13 points per game last year for the Clippers. He has 10 points per game more than that this year. What do you feel like has been the difference for him?
You know, Kawhi being out, I think you've seen him really step up and I think try to meet that challenge. But obviously there's a lot of guys that if that were the case, they were given the keys and said, hey, Kawhi is out. They're not going to play as well as he has. So I think his time at UCLA, his prep, his ability to actually, I think, look back at those years when he was really grinding before he got to the NBA, like you said, now a guy who's 31 years old, averaging 20 or more points for the first time. Very few guys have done that, and so he's really met the challenge. He's showing he is a big two-way player. He can score the ball on offense, get into the rack, and shooting the three-ball some, as well as guarding, and he really fits this team well. And Jeff Van Gundy over there with Tyronn Lue, I think they love what he's been able to do.
Yeah, on both ends of the floor for the Clippers team. They're now 26 wins on the season. Our Menards big money moment tonight is Giannis Antetokounmpo, 15 consecutive double-doubles, 36 and 13 tonight for the Bucks, Steve.
Yeah, him on the attack, you just got to love this because you know that he really sets this tone, especially on a road trip starting out in the first game. And so seeing him have a big third quarter, responding after halftime, I thought was just as important. He came out in the first half and was really on the attack. It was very much himself. He's knocking down free throws. It looks beautiful. He's getting to his spots, even against big guys like Zubek. And really his restricted area dominance, seeing him with that kind of swag, I think just continues to be what matters the most for him. He really is the most dominant restricted area right under the basket scorer that maybe the league has ever seen. Yes, Shaq was unbelievable when he played, but I think the way Giannis is doing it just continues to be better and better every year. And this year, that dominance we saw on full display tonight.
I'll tell you what stands out to me, 12 for 15 from the free throw line.
Yeah,
Giannis.
It's looking good. His routine looks like it's streamlined a little bit. He's just letting the ball go. I think he's trusting his shot, and obviously, if he can make more free throws, he can average a lot more points. He's not been shooting the free throws great, so it really is a good sign. It makes teams pay, especially late in games, if they're going to take fouls on him. And so tonight, it wasn't enough making those free throws, but hopefully he can keep that going.
Yeah, Bucks were missing Bobby Portis tonight due to family reasons, and second chance points were a big storyline of this game. You heard Lisa and Marcus talk about it all throughout the broadcast. 24 second chance points for the Clippers tonight. That is the most the Bucks have allowed to any opponent this season. Much more to come here on Bucks Live, presented by Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin. We'll talk Dame, back-to-back triple-doubles, and a couple of bench guys really stepping up in a big way. It's coming up next. (127-117) the final tonight in Los Angeles. The Bucks' first leg of a 4-game road trip. They head to Utah, San Antonio as well. 10-point loss, tough one tonight. Our Havish and Havish numbers that matter. Damian Lillard, back-to-back triple-doubles. Not a sentence we thought we'd say very often on this program, Steve, but credit Dame for finding the rebounds. He's never had problems with points and assists, but adding some boards in there on back-to-back games. First time in his career he's had back-to-back triple-doubles.
Well, just look at those numbers. I mean, they really are fantastic. Not only do they look basically identical, but obviously the impact that he's having on this team, you don't expect to see these kind of numbers in a loss. You expect for those kind of numbers to be he's assisting the way he has to Giannis, and Giannis is dominating. They're getting this win, but obviously the Clippers kind of getting away from the Bucks tonight, scoring way too many points. When you got two guys combining for over 70 points, that's how a triple-double happens and you don't win. But nonetheless, the rhythm that Dame has been in has been really impressive. When you have 10 straight games with 20 or more points and you're shooting the 3-ball the way that he is, I think you just realize this is the best version of Dame that we've seen in a Bucks uniform. Very consistent, making shots, leading this team. They have been on such a nice winning streak as well, and so a tough loss, but still some good production.
Well, you look at that first half in particular, one of the positives to take away from this game, Taurean Prince and Gary Trent Jr., the way they were shooting the ball for Milwaukee, they combined for 22 points in that first half alone, and both of these guys shooting at an incredible rate tonight.
You know they are, and this is going to continue to matter all season long, and never more important than in the postseason. These guys knocking down shots and being big-time role pieces will be so important. And so you got a guy like Taurean Prince knocking down 2 threes in the first quarter for 6 points, 2 more threes in the second quarter for 6 more points. It really was beautiful to see that consistency. But speaking of consistency, Gary Trent Jr., 21 points last game, knocking down 7 3-pointers, and then coming back out 2 nights later against the Clippers at Intuit Dome and staying hot with 5 more threes. And so beautiful shooting by him, beautiful shooting by Taurean Prince. There's got to be that kind of shooting around a guy like Giannis, who's going to continue to dominate in the interior. Having that counterpunch is going to continue to make this team really special. And even if they do match up with the Clippers again this season, or very good Western Conference foes, hopefully in some finals matchups later down the season, there's no question you're going to have to be really good on the interior and the perimeter, and the Bucks are showing that they've got that team.
Yeah, we showed the graphic in our Bucks Live before the game of just the month-by-month numbers from Gary Trent Jr. in particular. In the month of January, he's shooting well over 50% from the floor. In the last 2 games, 64% from the floor, 63% from 3. That's the type of stuff they were hoping to see from Gary Trent Jr. at the beginning of the year, and they're now finally starting to see that, and what that could be for the next few months. Could be special basketball here in Milwaukee. Much more to come on Bucks Live, presented by Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin. Doc Rivers is on deck. 10-point loss tonight in Los Angeles, 127-117 the final. James Harden, Norman Powell proving to be a problem for the Milwaukee Bucks. They combined for 73 points in this game, 50 of those 73 coming in the second half. Here's Bucks head coach Doc Rivers.
You know, James had 17 in the third, 28 in the second half. Norman had 12 in the fourth. It just seemed like those two, there wasn't really an answer for them.
No, it wasn't tonight. You know, they both played great, attacked off the dribble. James got it going. Norman had it going all game, I thought, just very aggressive downhill. I thought the 50-50 game, it won't show, but I thought that's where the game was hurt. We had like 3 or 4 turnovers in a row. That is what gave them the cushion in the game. We talked about it before the game. When they go small, they reach, they grab, and you got to play through contact. I didn't think we did a good job of that. We gave up 127 points, and we scored an inefficient 117. So that's the difference in the game.
It's like 5 turnovers in a matter of 3 minutes there.
It's sloppy turnovers. You know, 2 of those turnovers, they had a guy on the floor on the other end. So we had 5 on 4, and we turned the ball over twice. You know, that should lead to a layup or a 3. So, you know, they do a lot of switching, and I thought we went to ISO one-on-one ball. And that works a little bit for us, but that's not who we are. I just didn't think the ball moved a lot tonight.
We've always kind of talked about your formula. Teams are going to out-possession you.
Yeah.
So you can't have those turnovers. You can't kind of do those things.
Yeah.
Do you just feel like all the margins that you guys normally control just...
We didn't control them tonight. You know, I think we had 4 or 5 rebounds in our hand, and they took it out of our hand. Listen, I thought they were the aggressor the entire night. And I thought the game really, when you look at the numbers, the game really, the margins, that's what it came down to. The loose balls, the turnovers, the fouls, you know, and at the end of the day, they won that game. They won that, so they win the game.
Chris is, I think, just 0 for 4 in like 19
Yeah, I didn't
minutes.
think he was involved much. That's on us. So we got to get him more involved.
Hey, Doc. What did you say about James Harden kind of gave us a vintage performance, 40 points, and Damian Lillard gave you a triple-double, and Giannis gave you 30 points. What did I say to do that at age 35 at this point in his
Yeah, he's
career?
playing great. He's having a hell of a year, you know. He's playing the right way. When you do that, you have a chance of winning.
Coach, they were also able to get inside on you. A lot of points in the paint defensively.
Yeah.
What happened there?
That's called getting beat off the dribble. You know, that's what I said at the beginning. They owned the paint tonight. And that was going to be the game. Whichever team got to the paint the most, because we both do the same thing, was going to win the game. I thought we settled. We danced around outside the three-point line, and they played downhill basketball, especially in the second half. You don't want a mic?
All right, still to come here on FanDuel Sports Network. Next stop on the road trip is Salt Lake City. We preview the matchup coming up next. (127-117) the final tonight in Los Angeles. The Bucks falling to the Clippers, watching their 5-game winning streak come to an end. Next stop on their road trip, Salt Lake City on Monday night to take on the Utah Jazz. Lauri Markkanen averaging 20 points per game. All-star for the Jazz, most improved player a couple of years ago. The Jazz struggling a little bit this year. Steve, Bucks took advantage of them at Fiserv Forum back in November. It was just their second win of the season at that point, 123-100. At the time, it was a really big one for the Milwaukee Bucks, and it feels like this would be a nice one to get back on track after a tough one in L.A.
Yeah, for sure, especially with little New Orleans Snowmageddon trip that they took, and this loss as well, to your point. It'd be nice to get back in their winning ways. And look, Lauri Markkanen, a heck of a player. He put up averages 20 points, but he's had a 35-point game recently against Atlanta. And Colin Sexton, very dangerous as well. So a Will Hardy coached team, one of the youngest coaches in league history. He's doing a heck of a job with this group this year, not winning so much. Last year, they surprised a lot of teams around this league, but we'll see if Milwaukee can get this win.
And I'll tell you what, over the last couple of weeks, during this last 10 games or so, we saw the Bucks beat up on bad teams. An opportunity to do that on Monday night. Tonight, they faced a tough team in the Los Angeles Clippers. James Harden, Norman Powell and company giving the Bucks everything that they had. 73 points from James Harden and Norman Powell. Giannis and Dame combining for 65 for Milwaukee. Not enough as the Bucks' 5-game winning streak comes to an end. We'll be back here on FanDuel Sports Network on Monday night for Bucks Live beginning at 7:30. Have a good rest of your weekend, everyone.